Good morning from the Titanic Museum in Pigeon Forge. It's Ryan.
And Brie.
And on today's adventure, we're going to bring you inside to give you a tour of what it's like to go to the Titanic Museum. And we have something very special to show you.
Something that was on board the Titanic, something that has never been seen by the public. I am really excited to go see this.
So we'll be talking to the curator of these new items and the auctioneer to talk about the most expensive thing they've ever sold.
And that this item could actually go for more.
So sit back and relax as we go for a tour of the Titanic Museum in Pigeon Forge. So we're excited to be back here at the Titanic Museum here in Pigeon Forge. We've done a tour of this place before with Katie, who did an amazing job telling a lot of the stories. We're not going to stop at every item and tell every story, but we just want to give you a feel for what it's like to come here to the Titanic Museum in Pigeon Forge as we work our way up to the new item, or items, I should say. There's one main item, and there's some things that come with it we're gonna be checking out as we come to the front entrance. When you come to the Titanic Museum, you get a boarding pass, which is an actual passenger that was on board. You'll learn all about this passenger, and then at the very end, you'll find out if your passenger survived or not. So we head inside to this main entrance, which has a number of different flags representing all of the different countries that the different passengers were from on the Titanic. As we're working our way into this first room, you can see there are a number of people, which is why we recommend getting tickets for this particular attraction in advance. But as you come into this room, it has lots of places to stop and read and give you a better idea of what the Titanic ship was like. And over here, you can actually see their maiden voyage as you press these buttons and see where it was at certain times of the day and when it eventually hit the iceberg. Next, we come to the drawing room, where you can learn all about how the ship was designed by its designer, Thomas Andrews. And you're also able to learn a little bit about Captain Smith and his dog, Ben. And next we move to the shipyard, where you learn all about how the ship was created. We've got Grape's tub. You can see lots of different items in the window of the pub. You can see a number of different items on display as you walk along and learn about the stories of the people that once held these items. I've always loved this little model ship of the Titanic. It gives you a lot of information about the different definitions between crow's nest, where the bridge is, the funnel, and what is a poop deck. This next section gives you an opportunity to see what it's like to shovel coal and power the Titanic. Learn all about the cargo and the crew as we come to the Father Brown collection of photos. This was an individual that was on board the Titanic, and these are a number of the photos that he took, which are a limited number of photos. It wasn't like today where everyone had a cell phone and camera. So you're able to learn all about Father Brown over here and see some of the items related to him. And over here in this corner, you'll find one of the very few photos of Captain Smith on the Titanic as he's looking down at one of the lifeboats. If you come to this room, see if you can find this photo. This is Captain Smith right here. We enter into third class, which is really neat to walk through and see what a third class cabin is like. Got lots of different interactive elements for kids along the way. Learn all sorts of facts about how many Canadians were on board. It also gives you an idea of what second class was like, with a number of photos. You can also learn about the different dogs that were on the Titanic. Brie, do you remember how many dogs were on the Titanic? Is it 5, 10, or 14?
I'm gonna guess 14.
14. And
I mean
you're
10.
incorrect.
I mean
10? Correct. There were 10 dogs, and you can learn about the different dogs, who own them, and the kids can even come over here and visit one of the dogs in the kennel here. And along with seeing images of what second class is like, you actually get to see what a third class cabin was like while you're here at the Titanic, which makes me think everyone was a lot shorter back then. We've gotten a lot taller since the Titanic first set sail. So from here, let's work our way to the grand staircase, which is a replica, as close as they could possibly make it as a one-to-one. And that's one of the great things about coming to this museum is you're actually able to walk the grand staircase, just like Jack and Rose from the movie Titanic.
Yes.
So it's a beautiful room. It's great for photos, but let's chat with Jody real quick to learn about what we're about to look at.
So we're here with Jody at the Titanic in Pigeon Forge. And can you just tell us a little bit of the heart of what we're about to go see?
So I know I've told you the Isidore Straus story before. So just in case your viewers haven't heard it, Isidore and Ida Straus were the co-owners of Macy's department store. In the movie, they depict them as an older couple laying in bed and the water rushing in. But what really happened is Ida got into a lifeboat, found out her husband couldn't join her, and got out. Said, "We've been married for over 40 years. Where you go, I go. So we will live together, so we will die together." They were last seen holding hands on the deck of the Titanic. Only Isidore's body was recovered, and in his breast pocket, right above his heart, was his pocket watch. Among other things, was given back to his family. We've had several of his items here at the museum. We have his wedding band in Branson. We've had the watch fob not too long ago. But this is the actual pocket watch. It has been in the family until yesterday. It was actually physically handed to our curator. It has been just in the family home on display for when anyone walks through. So it makes you want to tear up. This is one of my favorite love stories. But to actually see the pocket watch, is just amazing.
Yep. And what's along with the pocket watch? I heard there's something else that's special there.
A lot of people don't realize that you were able to mail letters off the Titanic. There was even Titanic stationery for different classes. So when Ida got into their beautiful stateroom, there were fresh flowers waiting on her from her good friend in New York. So she quickly pinned a letter to her friend and had it mailed off the Titanic. And we know it was mailed off the Titanic because it has the postmark of transatlantic number 7, which means Titanic. And her friend kept it and gave it back to the family because after she found out what happened, she knew this would be something the family would want to keep.
Well, I'm excited to see both of these items.
And I'm excited to show you. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay,
Yes.
come on.
Okay.
Do you bring Kleenex?
Yes, in my pocket.
Now, I want you also, when anyone looks at Ida's letter, the first thing they talk about is her penmanship.
Okay.
So beautiful cursive. This is normally the Straus's parlor suite. This is what it looked like. They were in the Regency style. 2 bedrooms, your own private bathroom, and a sitting room. This is the Regency style. We know that was the Straus's. And that is 24 karat leafing around the top, just like your bedroom, right?
Oh, yeah.
Very busy today. Everyone wants to be a part of history.
Wow.
And here's the envelope. You can notice the postmark. And of course, the beautiful watch. Inside the watch is the date February 6th, 1888. Well, I couldn't wait till our curator and Andrew, the auctioneer, was here because I could figure out what that date is. It is Isidore's 43rd birthday and when he became part of Macy's department store. And a little side note, Isidore and Ida's birthday was both February 6th.
So this was probably a birthday gift.
Yes.
So we're going to spend some time talking to the auctioneer and curator.
Yes, they are here. They're mic'd up and ready to talk to you.
Okay.
Thank you. It's good
Thank you,
seeing
Jody.
you.
Yes.
Bye, everyone.
We're here today with Paul, the curator of the watch and the letter. And I'm just going to let you tell us a little bit about everything since
Sure.
you are the expert.
Sure.
Mhm.
Well, we're privileged and honored here at Titanic Museum Attraction to put on display a very, very significant artifact. This is a pocket watch recovered from the body of Isidore Straus. As well as that, we have from the family a letter written by Ida. It's the only letter written by the family off the Titanic. It comes with an envelope. She mailed it in along with Titanic's transatlantic number 7 stamp on the letterhead. So it signifies, we know that came from Titanic because that's her significance in the mail world. She was a Royal Mail steamship. So as long with being an immigration vessel, she was not a cruise ship like today's world we have in. She was an immigration vessel and a mail ship. So she was delivering a ton of mail to North America from Europe, and she was delivering many immigrants, over 2,200 passengers on board that ship. So this is an extremely significant artifact in that we are hoping to see this exceed or make the new record for a Titanic object. It's up against two very significant watches as well, pocket watches from John Jacob Astor, the richest man on board. His watch recovered from his body, and also another watch that's never been on board the Titanic from Captain Rushton. It was a gift given to him by several of the first-class women to thank him for saving them and coming to rescue the lifeboats. So this is a very significant object. The other significance with these two pieces, they've never been out of the hands of the family since 1912. Again, the body was recovered from his body. His oldest son, Jesse, picked it up, brought it back to the family along with several other objects recovered from his body. The letter that was then presented from the woman who she wrote the letter to. After she learned about the sinking, she really thought the family should have this letter. So she brought the letter back, and it's been with the family ever since 1912.
Tell me a little bit about what was written on that letter.
The letter was actually just a simple thank you note for the woman leaving flowers in the suite on board Titanic for them. So when they arrived at their suite and arrived on board Titanic, they were then taken to their suite, and in the suite was this big vase of flowers. And this was a letter thanking the woman, their friend, for presenting these flowers to them and been on board. They thanked them several times. They talked about looking forward to seeing each other at the next visit, and that both her and Isidore were looking forward to seeing her again.
So as a curator, what is your role with these objects?
The word curator is something that's kind of a misnomer for many people. I think people think that a curator sits in the back of a museum somewhere and maybe repairs a piece of textile piece or repairs a metal piece or maybe polishes things. We not only are in charge of collection management, in other words, all of the objects. So I'm in charge of keeping up with all of our collectors, all the museums that lend us objects, with Henry Aldrich and Son. Anything new that comes up, we get a chance to display the objects. I also am in charge of putting the displays on. So I lay out the displays. I have an art director and a graphic person that helps me put the displays together, but I'm the person that's here physically, either myself and or my art director, and we put the objects on display. So we cover a broad base of different job titles and job genres, but basically we handle all the artifacts that come into the museum, both in and out, shipping, retrieving, relationships, all of that.
When this auction takes place and there's somebody who wins this auction, are you involved in getting that artifact to that person?
Yes, when the object gets sold, Andrew will come to us and hand deliver it to that person. The person may choose to come here and meet with myself and Andrew, because we will attempt to put the object on display in the future.
Okay.
Now, many people that buy objects, sometimes they want to have it for themselves for a while. Sometimes 6 months, a year, they want to hold it in their possession, and then we go and lease it from them after the fact. So we're hopeful that this person who buys these two pieces, we believe it may be two different buyers for both objects, but it very well could be the same buyer buy both objects. We would approach them and give them the opportunity to put it on display in the future.
That's great. So the world still gets to enjoy it.
We don't know who's going to buy these two objects. And we're hopeful that there'll be a collector that will allow us to put it on display. But it really adds to the significance of the objects being on display for the next 6 months with us, because it could be a person to buy this that won't share it and have it in their house or their home or their collection for many years to come and never be on public display again. So this is an opportunity for us to display something that may never be on display ever again.
So if someone wants to see it, now is the time.
Now is the time. From here through November, we will have this object on display. We will most likely deliver it to the person who purchased it probably in the first week of December. So we'll have it all through November.
So this watch it's beautiful right now, but obviously when it was pulled from the ocean, it probably needed some repair or touch up, or when it came to you. So what does that process look like?
These two objects in particular, the pocket watch and the letter, obviously the letter was mailed off the ship. So she would have been mailed it from one of the dock sites and put on a bag and taken off the ship. The pocket watch was never actually submersed at the bottom of the ocean, it would have been recovered from his body.
Okay.
His body would have been sitting up high in the water, held by a life jacket. He would have probably been this part above the water from the lower chest up. And this was found in his pocket. And as far as we know, the family did nothing to preserve it other than to clean it. So it stayed solid. It would probably in several layers of clothing. And we've had many objects recovered from bodies that needed little to no preservation.
Okay.
Unlike the bottom of the ocean where they come up, it's very imperative that they take salt out of these objects. And you got to figure the objects were on the ocean floor more than 80 years before they were picked up. So those were absorbed with salt. This was immersed at some level of sea during probably the first week to 10 days. So it didn't take the requirement of preservation that the submerged objects would have.
So we're here today at the Titanic Museum in Pigeon Forge with Andrew. Andrew is the auctioneer. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do in your...
Sure. I'm based in the UK and we're auctioneers of Titanic and iconic memorabilia. In the last year, we've sold the world's most expensive Titanic item, $2 million. The second most expensive item, which was owned by John Jacob Astor, that was $1.5 million. But we also sell other iconic items, such as in June last year, we had Elvis's blue suede shoes. So you name it, if it's got a cool story behind it, I'm happy to sell it.
What was that $2 million item?
That was a watch that would belong to Captain Arthur Rostron. And Rostron was the captain of the rescue ship. And this watch was made by Tiffany & Co. and it was given to him by the widows of the three most famous passengers on the Titanic. We put it to auction and it made just under $2 million.
So with that in mind, being that this item was actually on the Titanic, it was a Strauss item, what do you expect this item to go for?
There's a great auction cliche. Something is worth what two people are prepared to pay for it. So, but, and the big but is, this was owned by Isidor Straus, one of the most powerful men on Titanic. It was on his person when the Titanic sank. And of course, Isidor and Ida Straus, they're the real life love story on the Titanic. In James Cameron's movie, at the end of the film, when the ship is sinking, they are the couple that are hugging each other in their suite. So it's incredibly iconic. It's got an incredible story behind it. It's an incredible piece of memorabilia. So who knows, but I think certainly it'll be seven figures.
How excited are you to be auctioning this item off?
I'm incredibly excited. You know, I sell this memorabilia for a living. My company is the world's leaders in the sale of this memorabilia, but I'm interested in Titanic. I was a 7-year-old boy. My birthday cake was a Titanic. I went to Southampton University. I walked past the Engineers Memorial every day to go to lectures. You know, so Titanic's part of my life. So to be able to sell this piece of memorabilia, you know, it's a career highlight, and I'm really looking forward to it.
And how does that auction work? Like, when will that happen? If someone's interested in bidding, like, how does that work?
We'll have the auction in the UK in November 25, so later this year. Clients will have the option, they can obviously attend the auction, that's option one. There'll be people bidding on the telephone as well, option two, but also the sales online. So we work with multiple online platforms. So the average sale will have between 800 and 1,000 participants in that auction, and they'll be bidding through all of those mediums.
How long have you been auctioning Titanic items?
I've been selling Titanic memorabilia for 20 years, literally now. You know, and people always think, the biggest question I'm always asked in the press, why do people collect Titanic items? You know, it's a really good question. And the best answer to it is every man, woman and child has a story to tell. So if you like, the main story is a big ship hits an iceberg. That, you know, that's it basically, and it's easiest distilled essence. But take that a step further, you've got 2,200 men, women and children on that ship. So you've got 2,200 chapters. Every man, woman and child had a story to tell, and that's why people are interested in the Titanic.
I know you live in the UK, you frequent Pigeon Forge. Obviously, you love the Titanic Museum.
Yeah.
What else do you like to do in the area?
I'm lucky enough to come to Pigeon Forge probably 10, 11 times over the past 12, 14 years because we work closely alongside the museum. But in terms of attractions, Dollywood, obviously, it's amazing. Dream Walk, amazing place to stay. Then in terms of breakfast, you know, somewhere like Apple Barn, you know, I've never eaten so much food in my life, bar none. But again, in terms of places to eat, obviously Boarfish is amazing. The diners, just everything is so fantastic. You know, as an Englishman in Tennessee, everyone is so friendly. It's so homely, so genuine. It's just an amazing place to come. And of course, for those in Britain, London to Nashville's direct. And it's only a 3.5-hour drive from Nashville. So come visit Tennessee.
So everyone's excited to see the brand new item that just went out on display here in the music room. There sometimes is someone playing the piano, not at the moment. You can learn all about the different musicians on the Titanic in this room, one of the most famous being Wallace Hartley. From the music room, we head on to the bridge, can learn a little bit more about the captain and crew, and it gives you an opportunity to see what it was like up on the bridge, which the bridge has a number of different items they would use to help in navigation. It has this wheel that you or the kids can come up and take a photo with or hang around the bridge here and learn more about what it was like the night the Titanic was struck. And as you come out this door over here, it says iceberg right ahead. And this is a really neat room for everyone to come over here and actually be able to feel what 28-degree water is like. So you can actually put your hand in it, but you can't keep in very long, as they have an iceberg over here and lots of lights. You can see the front of the bridge. As we continue our tour, come to a movie room.
Collecting, rebuilding, and archiving the documents and records of the Advent 14.
And so after you watch the movie that we'll recycle every so often, I've got a little room here telling you about the different children that were on board the Titanic in first class, second class, third class. You can see different items along the way, like this bracelet that was on the Titanic of one of the third class children. So from this room, we come to this area, which gives you a really good feel for how difficult it was to actually stand on board the Titanic as it was sinking. Right next to that, we have a lifeboat, which you can come and sit at, and it has a number of different stories that you can sit here, push the button, and learn about different passengers. So lots of different stories that you can learn about. Over here, we've got a number of items and cases, such as this passenger trunk that they found floating in the water. We've got an area where you can try out some common boating knots and some other interactive displays. This area they call Tot Titanic, which again has some more interactive things for kids to do, like this little screen over here. So it gives kids something they can interact with as we learn about the dive to the Titanic. And in this next room that we come to is the memorial. It gives you the opportunity to learn if the passenger you're representing as you come through the museum, whether they survived or they unfortunately perished. And then we come to a room that highlights how Titanic was found September 1st, 1985, which also has some highlights of James Cameron's Titanic movie, which includes some movie set items that were used by the actors and signed. You can see Kate Winslet signed this life jacket, and this shows you the wood panel that Jack and Rose were trying to float on at the end of James Cameron's Titanic movie. And this is the actual panel that Kate Winslet and Leonardo DiCaprio used for filming in the Titanic movie for that scene at the very end where they're trying to stay afloat. We've got some photos from the Titanic movie with a violin in a case, and some of the awards that Titanic won. And I just wanted to point out that not everything you're seeing in this video will always be here. So if you're interested in seeing any of these particular movie set pieces, they're only here for a limited time. It's not a permanent fixture. So when you come here, some of these rooms might have different items as they change up. And over here they have the survivors wall of stories. You can not only learn whether your person survived or perished. If they did survive, you can learn about what happened to them after the Titanic. So from that room, we are now back into the grand staircase, which we are going to walk down now. So let's head back down and head towards the gift shop, which has some different bears and t-shirts and hoodies. And it looks like they have some puzzles and models that you can get. They've got some dishes that you can get that are kind of replicas to what were on board the Titanic, some restrooms, some places for photos. And over here, they have some different necklaces like the ones that were in the Titanic movie. They have some smaller basic ones at $29, and they have some that go up to $189 that are much larger. So we checked out Mr. Strauss's pocket watch. They do have some pocket watches here that you can also get. They have snacks and some different books that you can get here in the gift shop. I did want to point out everything I just checked out in the retail shop. You're welcome to walk over here and just shop. You don't have to go into the museum if there's something you want to come over here and pick up. I did want to also point out that it used to be the Titanic frozen custard. They've changed it over to Titanic Ice Cream. Just wanted to bring you in here real quick. And just like the retail shop, you don't have to have a ticket to go into the Titanic Museum. You can come over here and park for free in their parking lot over here and just come enjoy some of their Titanic ice cream. Let's go inside and see what they have real quick. As you come in, they have this beautiful ice cream in the center with a mural of Captain Smith. They also have these cases that, again, even if you're not able to make it to the museum, you might be able to see different things that they have out on display. See another case over here by some of the merchandise that they sell here, which we saw some Heart of the Ocean necklaces over in the gift shop that you can buy. This is one on display that has been valued at over $250,000. So like I said, you can come over to the ice cream shop and you never know what might be on display in here. Let's take a look at some of the items you can get real quick. We've always loved this Paris mural that they have, and the music that's playing here is so nice and relaxing. I did want to highlight they have some sweet and savory items like this first class banana split for $14.89. Along with your classic ice creams in a cup or cone, they have some Italian ice and some fun things that you can come and get, whether you're going to the museum in a little bit or after you've been in the museum. You can come over here to the ice cream shop. But that's going to wrap up this video, checking out the Titanic and Pigeon Forge and their new items that are now on display. A big thanks to the Titanic for having us out to check them out. If you want to see them, I would try to get here before November. There's no guarantee that somebody doesn't buy it and it never sees the light of day again. They could purchase it, like the curator was saying. After holding it for a little bit of time, they could lend it back, lease it back to the museum in the future, but it's not a guarantee. So they're always changing up the museum. I really enjoyed walking through the museum with you today. It's a very romantic story. It's great for couples to do, to go and hear that story. It's very, hold on. We interrupt. It is it's the top of the hour.
I think
12 o'clock. Hold on.
Is it only 12 o'clock or?
I think it's 12 o'clock every day. I've heard it before. I've been like across the street and I'm like, whoa, what was that?
I've never heard that before.
Yes, I knew it happened. This is the closest I've been to the ship when it's happened.
Wow.
If you are by this thing when that thing goes off, it is loud.
It is loud.
But we hope you found this video helpful or enjoyable. If it has been, just simply like it before you leave. Feel free to ask any questions and we'll put a link to another more detailed Titanic tour down in the pinned comment that goes through a little more stories than what we did. We just wanted to highlight, again, that they have this new item and show you a little bit of what the museum is like. But thanks so much for watching. Until next time, we'll see you on the next adventure.